If your income goals require you to see more clients than you have the capacity to, you don't have a marketing problem. You have a revenue model issue.
More clients does not necessarily equal more money. It often we will think as counselors and therapists that the larger the caseload we have, the more revenue that we're making. When in reality, this will actually lead to burnout. Because as we continue to try to increase our caseload, increase the number of clients that we are seeing, we end up running ourselves ragged. We end up not taking care of ourselves. And instead, that then ends up issuing a problem with our revenue because we have to take a step back and actually walk away a bit from the amount of energy and time that we are putting into our clients and caseloads. So what's really important to understand is that when we are looking at our businesses, we don't want to look to try to continue to increase our one-to-one clients and services. Instead, we want to think about other possible revenue streams that we can bring in that then can be part of our revenue model, and we can systematize and automate so that it becomes easier to continue at the pace that we are at without continually always having to add more to our client load.
Instead of asking yourself, how do I get more clients? Instead, I want you to look at what is your revenue goal? What are the ways in which you are monetizing? What is my emotional and availability as far as energy in order to take on other pieces of revenue models? It's really important that when we are looking at this, that we start to question what we are actually trying to do. A lot of times when as business owners, we look to see how we can increase our revenue, when instead we need to be looking at what we already have in place and how we can strategically systematize the things that we are doing and continually wanting to improve upon those. Trying to find ways to make it so that it is more efficient instead of continually relying on new marketing styles. We instead can look to really regulate and utilize what we already have in place for our business, how we are potentially using referrals, or how we can make sure that it continues to keep the clients that we are working with so that we don't have so much churn happening. That way, we're not continually looking for how do I get more clients.
There are 3 smarter ways that you can increase your revenue without increasing your caseload. The first that we're going to take a look at is looking at what you are already doing. How can we do it better? So instead of trying to add more clients, why not look at our fee alignment? Are we charging what we should be? Do we need to increase our fees? What would that look like if we were to do that? Also, if you are getting referrals coming into your business, how can you continue to rely upon that? How can you make it a more systematized approach rather than expecting it just to naturally happen? The next is to think about how you can retain the clients that you are working with. Now, a lot of therapists often feel that they should be able to fix someone and those people should then be able to move on. When in reality, we as people continue to grow. And even though therapy may seem like a band-aid that can be a quick fix, it actually is meant to be able to help you throughout your lifetime. So retaining a client is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. They're going to continue to grow and they're going to continue to better understand the trauma that they may have already occurred. So it's important that when you are looking at it, that you think about retaining those clients in the best way possible. And then the last piece is to think about the way in which you onboard clients, that they understand what the process should look like, that there are systems in place to make this easier on you. When you don't have systems, this is when you can often feel overwhelmed and burnt out. So it's important that we first take a look at those things.
The second way in which you can take a look at your revenue model is to potentially add leverage. Now, you're doing this without compromising your ethical values, but the way in which you can leverage what you are already doing within your practice is to start to think about what could you potentially offer as top of one-on-one services. Could you create a group program or offer an intensive or do a retreat or offer an online workshop, as well as potentially digital products, a book, a workbook, things of this nature that your clients could use and would only better the therapy that you are doing one-on-one potentially with them. This also opens you up to people that may not feel comfortable yet coming into the therapy room and working one-on-one with you. They may be able to start to work through some of the issues that they are having that they would ordinarily come in one-on-one with you, but now they're starting to get the practice through your workshops, your book, your trainings that you are offering to them. So start to think about how can you leverage beyond the actual therapy room and start to think about what it would look like if you were to add in some of these other revenue driving strategies.
The third way in which you're going to make sure that your revenue is in line and where it is continuing to grow is that you're going to simplify and focus. You're going to choose one strategy. You're not choosing multiple strategies. You're not adding a suite of products. I want you to think about potentially adding one. Then I need you to commit for 90 days to that strategy. What is it that you're adding? How can you continually make sure that you are putting tasks into your day to grow that piece? So if, for example, you wanted to add a digital workshop as a potential added revenue stream that you're going to leverage, then I want you to commit to that for 90 days. That is not simply, oh, I'm going to put the workshop out there. It's also the tasks that are going to need to go into that in order to market it. And you have to be able to commit to it with ultimate focus. So often, I run into clients that try to do so many different things within their business. They are trying to add digital products while growing a YouTube channel, while adding in a podcast. You can't do all of these things at once. You need to choose one and really make sure that you have focus as well as systems to get those out the door so that you can continually be able to measure what is actually helping the bottom line of your business.
When it comes to choosing these different ways in which to increase to your revenue model beyond the one-on-one, it can often feel very overwhelming. You can feel as if there's so many different strategies out there, but how do I know which one is right? We often think that we have to hustle continuously, which only in the end will lead to burnout. Many times as business owners, I have watched my clients go through a process where they try to increase their one-to-one. They end up then having more one-to-one clients and they get overwhelmed because it's added energy, it's added emotional capacity that has to go into that. And then what ends up happening is they burn out. And then there is a dip in revenue because they have to step back on their caseload. This is why it's important to be able to leverage the strategies that we are talking about today within your revenue model.
Now, if you're ready to go beyond the hustle, to have actual strategies that you can put in place with confidence in order to increase your revenue, I want to invite you to participate in the Practice to Profit Summit. This is a 3-day event starting March 2nd through the 4th, where we are going to have expert speakers walk you through the strategies that you can put into your practice that are not going to overwhelm, but instead are going to give you direct pathways in which to increase your revenue. So jump into the description and sign up today to save your seat.